Alright guys, so today we're gonna finally fix this right here. So I can shove my whole foot in the front, and the back is actually even worse. I mean, I don't know why these cars have so much wheel gap, but we're gonna fix this today. So today I ended up buying some True Heart coilovers. So people are probably gonna say, oh, you should have went with BC Racing, you should have went with this, you should have went with that. And as much as I was reading, these True Heart coilovers are actually really decent coilovers, whether or not you have a Honda or any other car. They're very popular. The only thing that is a downfall with these True Heart coilovers is they do not have any adjustability for the dampening, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal, because on my last coilovers that I had on my other Corolla, I really, like, when I first put them in there, I adjusted a little bit. But other than that, once I got it to where I thought it felt pretty good, I never even messed with it after. So I just figured I don't really need the adjustable dampening. So I just went with these, which the cost is pretty low compared to like BC Racing, but they should perform just as good without the dampening. So let's get this car jacked up and we'll throw on the front spurs. Alright, so I got the wheels off in the front. If you've never done coilovers before, they're relatively simple. And you only got a few bolts to actually worry about. You have your two main bolts here. You have your end link bolt right here. And then usually you'll have to unbolt, like your ABS or brake lines are usually bolted to a little bracket right there. So once you do that, this is pretty much ready to come out. And then you'll have to do 3 bolts up at the top for the strut tower. So you're just gonna have to lift up the plastic and just get a wrench under there. And then once you get all that, this will literally slide right out. And then we'll throw the new one in. All right, guys, so I got the first one out. Came out relatively easy. All right, so here's the True Heart ones. Definitely can already see they're much shorter. I don't want to slam this car, but I do want to get rid of the wheel gap. I want to be around like where my other Corolla was, so not really a wheel gap, but not really tucked either. So I just want to have it so it's has a really nice fitment. Quality wise, just looking at these, they look really nice. So as I was saying, they don't have the adjustability on the top, but I personally really don't think I need it, because like I said, I never adjusted the other ones that I had, and I didn't really feel that big of a difference on ride quality. I just decided these are probably the best quality coilovers you can get for the price, without spending $1,200–1,300 on the BC Racing, as well as these give you a decent drop. All right, guys, so I started to adjust both the fronts. I'm just trying to make them the same. I'm gonna be leaving about maybe 3/8 of a gap for now, and I'll adjust from there. All right, so I got them both measuring about the same. One thing I'd recommend when you're doing the coilovers on the Corolla, for instance, it has a sway bar that runs back and forth connecting both of these. I would recommend disconnecting or taking out both of these at the same time before you put one in, because otherwise the distance between the normal suspension and your coilovers are going to be really drastic, and you're not going to be able to flex that sway bar enough without either bending it or ruining it. So I would definitely recommend you at least disconnect the sway bar on each side, so that way it can freely move before you start throwing in another one. I just threw the first one in there. I just only tightened up the top bolts right now. Everything else is loose, so that way I'm gonna hop on the other side. I'm going to take out all this stuff on this side. So, and then once I do that, then we can finish slapping all the suspension together. All right, guys, so I got both wheels back on. Everything seemed to fit up good. Nothing seems to be giving me a problem. So let's lower this car down and see where I'm at here. Wow, those are really low. Just got the rear end jacked up, about to start taking those wheels off, but I still cannot believe how low this is. Definitely probably gonna raise this up soon, but I'll keep it here for now just to see how it rides this low. But even when I went to go lower it, this isn't my normal jack, but when I went to lower it, it actually hit the jack. So that's how low the front of this car is. So, but yeah, we're gonna move on to the back, swap out these coilovers hopefully. I mean, the front weren't that bad, so the back should go pretty easy. The only thing about the back is you have to get inside the trunk in order to loosen up the top strut bolts. But the back ones look pretty good. So to get access to the bolts, you're gonna want to pull out this fender liner, like inner piece here. There's just a couple clips holding it back, and then you'll see there's a nut there and then a bolt that goes underneath right there, and then there's also one on the other side. And then once you lower that, you'll come here, and then there's just a single nut that you got to take off right there. And that's how simple the rear is. Just got the rears on. I got both sides on. They went pretty good. One thing that I did have a problem with, and it's not really a problem, but you know how I was telling you there's a bolt on the other side. That's just very awkward to get to. You're gonna have to put the seats down and get it from that side. But other than that, everything else is very simple to do. And one thing I noticed on these coilovers, trying to put them on the bottom over there, I had to hit them on with a little hammer because they were very snug on that bushing. They went on relatively easy, just had to give it a little whack with a hammer. But other than that, they're in. So let's throw these wheels on and lower the car, and let's take a look at how this thing looks. All right, so I just lowered it, and this thing is slammed to the ground. Definitely got a little bit of tucking going on here, but this thing is ridiculously low. So hopefully I don't rub. I mean, there's still some clearance here, but if I hit some bumps, I feel like I might rub a little bit. But with the stock wheels, not really too worried about it. Eventually I will probably throw on the wheels for my Matrix over there, which were the original Corolla wheels anyways. But for now, I'm just gonna rock the stock wheels. But let's pull this thing out. Let's take a look at how this thing looks. Driving the Corolla with the budget coilovers. I mean, so far, everything seems to be pretty good. Have no complaints so far. One thing I did notice when I did this, now my alignment is off. I'm not sure if it's just because I'm slammed so badly that everything is off a little bit, but like my steering wheel, when I'm driving straight, it's curved, it's to the left a little bit. Which I don't know if I have to just double check the camber is properly set. But definitely if I plan to stay this low, definitely gonna have to get an alignment, that's for sure. I've driven like 10 miles so far. I mean, and it doesn't drive bad. I would definitely compare it to the Rev 9 coilovers I had on my last Corolla. And I had those set to the middle of the dampening. So it's not terrible, and I'm also, like I said, I'm also like maxed out. I believe the rears on these are maxed out. In the front, I have probably like an inch more to go on the front. But definitely plan on to raise it just a little bit so that way I'm not so low. And definitely going from my turbo Corolla to this Corolla feels super slow. But I mean, it's still very fun to drive, having the manual transmission, but it definitely needs a little bit more pep, and definitely plan on doing that turbo soon. The thing is, it's just been so hot here in Florida that it's just like working on your car is just like working in a sauna, and it is just really, really hot. So I most likely would plan on doing it towards the end of the year. That way it gets a little bit cooler than the 95 to 100 degrees that it has been. Alright guys, so this is what it looks like from afar. The car is pretty slammed and it is tucked, so definitely going to raise this up. I mean, it is, I can't even get my foot underneath that. So the front is a little bit better because I don't have it maxed out, but definitely it looks nice on the stock wheels and everything like that. But all in all, I mean, I don't want to be slammed too far, but I definitely will raise this up sooner or later. But definitely looks pretty nice. Kind of looks pretty aggressive for what it is, but all in all, I think it looks good. So tell me what you guys think, if I made the right choice or the wrong choice of going with these True Heart coilovers, or if you think they're actually worth the $750 that I spent on them. If not, tell me why and what suspension you guys are running, because I'd like to know. I mean, I've tried out 2 different coilovers so far and I have no complaints going budget, because I mean, I bet if you are tracking these, it would probably make a big difference, but this is mainly for daily driving, so I think it works perfectly fine for what it is. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and I'll talk to you guys next time.